Welcome, everybody. Today, we're going to be talking about a topic that is going to have such a massive impact on the parents out there, the moms, the dads, or the entrepreneurs, the professionals who are leaders or aspiring leaders who are trying to step into who it is that they're meant to be and make a greater impact, who find themselves feeling, stuck, like they can't move forward. There's things in their way. And we're going to uncover and unpack some things very specific for you, how you can move past this thing and actually start to make the impact you're going to make. Now, what I call this like the unspoken fear that's keeping you stuck. Now, I'm going to caution you that when I first talk about this fear, you're going to be like, that's not fear. I don't have that fear. But hear me out, because this fear is so convincing that it's not fear that you haven't thought about it yet. You haven't been like, oh, wait a second. I have seen those things. That does show up in my life that way. And you just didn't realize that it's fear because it's been so good at disguising itself for so long. So stick with me. Don't check out just because you hear the fear thing. It is true that it is hiding in plain sight in your life. Because here's the thing, this unspoken fear, that's really keeping you stuck. It's not this fear of failing that people often think if I fail or whatever. Because here's the thing. You've failed before. You can't avoid it. We all have. We've all made mistakes. We've all failed. But here's the thing. You recovered. You've adjusted and you kept going. Failure isn't what's keeping you stuck. The fear that's actually holding you back, it's so much more quiet and subtle and convincing. You're afraid of what will be required of you if things actually work out. And you may be like, that's not a fear I have. Okay, hold on. In many cases, this looks like you're afraid to step into your full potential because there's going to be this new weight to carry with it, or the responsibilities, or the visibility that comes with it, the expectations, or that your identity is going to shift and what people think about that. Here's the really tricky part, is once again, it's not showing up as fear. It's going to show up as logic, as caution, as I just need a little bit more time. I need to do that one more thing. I need to wait for this season of life to calm down a little bit. It's going to sound a lot like preparation or being responsible. It's going to feel like you're thinking things through. But here's the thing, sudden brain fog right when it's time to act, endless refining that never quite feels like it's done, or opportunities that somehow keep slipping by even though you are more than capable of accomplishing that thing. That's what this is, and that's what makes it so exhausting. You don't actually think you're afraid, and that's why I had to call it out at the top of the video. You think you're being smart. Got a news flash for you. When you zoom out, the patterns that show up are going to tell you different. Every time that you get close to something big, something pulls you back. And the very strengths that got you to the edge where you're ready to jump and step into this new version of you, your thoughtfulness, your responsibility, your ability to see the consequences, whatever, become the reasons you convince yourself not to cross it. And so I'm going to help you work through that today. We're going to dive deep into it. Now, I like to do this at the top of every video. I forgot to already, so I'll make sure I do it now. Welcome to the GIVER Method channel. If you are new here, my name is Jake Talbert. So glad you're able to join me. If you're back for another video, welcome back. I'm glad you're sticking around for more of my content. I'm the founder and author of this book. It's called The GIVER Method. Everything we're covering today is going to be grounded in principles from this book. Here's the thing. In writing the book, working with individuals, I personally work with people just like you. Capable, thoughtful people, the parents, the entrepreneurs, professionals, leaders, aspiring leaders who look steady from the outside, look successful from the outside, look like they have it all together, but they keep finding themselves stuck in the same invisible ceiling. They keep finding themselves not feeling like they're living the life that they want to live. They feel like they're missing themselves somewhere in the middle, right? They wake up at 3 a.m. with this why am I not doing more? What do I have to do? Dread and doubt that hits them. And I know because I've been there. And so everything we're going to talk about today is grounded in principles directly from the GIVER Method, targeted at people just like you, the capable people, the thoughtful people, parents, entrepreneurs, leaders. Because here's the thing, everything in the GIVER Method is helping people to discover their gifts and superpowers, create impact and influence in their lives, more value for the people around them, deeper, more meaningful relationships, and really live a more fulfilled life. That's the whole concept behind it. Now, when I wrote it, I'm a parent, I'm a father of 3, I'm an entrepreneur, and I've worked and lived in that sea of cubicles in a corporate life being a leader, and I know that you can't just burn everything down and start from scratch. You have to do things in the messy middle where you're at. You can't just move to the woods and go find yourself, or go to some woo retreat, that's going to cost you $20,000 to rediscover who you are. No, you got to do these things in the messy middle where you're at. So go get yourself a copy of this book. I'll put a link in the description. We just hit, we crossed our 1-year anniversary, and right now it's on sale. You look for as little as $2 on Amazon. Or pause the video, go to Amazon, find The GIVER Method by Jake Talbert. Like I said, it will change your life. Buy yourself a copy, buy someone you know a copy, buy your team copies, like buy multiple copies, like give them away to the people who need it. Everything, action items, exercises, there's worksheets you can download. This is the guidebook that walks you through how to live the life that you've been wanting to live for far too long. Now, let me ask you something really simple. Like, have you felt like you were on the verge of a breakthrough? Man, I got a message from somebody on Facebook just the other day where it's like, I just feel like I'm been so close. But then you find yourself slowing down instead of stepping forward. Have you ever noticed that, like, right before like momentum builds, suddenly like you need more clarity or more prep or more certainty, you don't take the action? Not because like you don't want the next level, but because something inside you tightens when it feels real. If that's you, once again, here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with you. It's not that you're broken or lazy, and you're not alone. There are thousands of people just like you. What you're experiencing isn't self-sabotage in the way that people usually talk about it. It's actually your nervous system's response to like expansion. When your life is about to get bigger, your system often tries to keep things familiar. It's a survival mechanism we have. In fact, that's why they often call it like you're going into survival mode. Whether or not you feel like you're in full survival mode or not, your brain wants to protect the things based off what it knows to be familiar. Not because you're weak, but because your body's wired to protect you from the unknown. And the unknown you're approaching isn't failure, it's success. It's the things that could happen in the future if you actually start to take that step forward. And I know this personally. I've stood on the edge of opportunity far too many times and watched myself like delay it or deflect it or explain it in a way that was like, I have the reasonable stories of why not now. And what changed for me and what's changed for so many people just like you was realizing like it's not a fear of failure. It was actually, I was personally like, I was afraid success would require me like it would require me that, like, before I built the capacity to hold it. Like, I can't handle all those things. That was what it was for me. It shows up for you in so many different ways. But what I want to talk about today is like, we're going to name the unspoken fear that keeps like the capable people, the thoughtful people just like you stuck. And more importantly, we're going to work with it instead of fighting it, because working against it and fighting it, that burns so much energy. And so I'm going to walk you through. There's going to be 4 principles we cover. Each one I'm going to have like deep action items and steps and details, like context that we're going to do around what it is. And then those action items are things that you can go do today. So you might want to grab a piece of paper, a pen, so we can go do those things right away. Like, we're going to talk about like, how fear disguises itself as logic, so you can identify that. Why your nervous system like resists that expansion, how to tell real wisdom from protective hesitation, and then how to build the capacity like to hold what's coming, without burying yourself behind it. And once again, we're not trying to force courage in any sort of way. Like, this isn't about becoming fearless, and it's definitely not about blowing up your life. It's about understanding what is actually happening on the inside of you and giving yourself a way to like a way to move forward that feels safe and aligned and sustainable, so that your brain doesn't shut it down. Now, of course, like everything we're going to cover today, like I mentioned earlier, it's covered in principles directly found in the GIVER method. So the link's in the description. Go get yourself a copy. You can also go follow us on social media, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, under the handle the GIVER method. We post all sorts of videos all week long, free resources, additional content. You can also get our free content. Like, we've got free stuff you can go get access to help you right now. If you go to thegivermethod.com, you can get on the newsletter list. There's some other resources in the description. I'll put a couple of them, like our gift blindness worksheet or our survival mode assessment, the giver's roadmap. Like, I like giving this stuff away because it helps get you moving forward in the right direction. Now, if you've got a stage, a podcast, an event, an audience where this message would resonate with them, let's talk about how we bring it to them in a real way. You'll find a link down below about scheduling time where we can talk about speaking and podcasting. The biggest thing, though, is many people, as they watch this, they're like, yep, I get it, but I need more support than that. I need someone to walk alongside me. I need the guide. I need this because I know what I've been delaying. I know the cost it's already cost me to delay these things and to stay stuck. And if that's the case, like, check out the link in the description for the Ignition Accelerator program. This is our one-on-one coaching program that we launched that is specifically for people like you. I designed it with you in mind. That way we can actually walk through like, okay, well, let's actually like slow down and identify what we need to be doing. Let's recalibrate so that we can actually like reignite what we're doing and move things forward, really find that spark and start driving it forward. And then how do we accelerate that forward so that as you continue on past the 90-day program, like, it's only a 90-day program. Once you finish it, it's like, how do you make it that those things are so sustainable that you don't fall back into the old patterns? So I'll cover it way more later in the video. I'll dive deep into a bunch of the details, but there's a link down below in the description where you can go check out the Ignition Accelerator page if you'd like to. And then if you haven't already, do the YouTubey things, like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and of course, like, you comment along the way. I love hearing people's comments as we go. So let's not waste any more time. Like, let's name that fear that's quietly running the show. Because once you can see it clearly, you're no longer stuck reacting to it, you can actually change things, and we can actually move beyond that. So let's talk about those 4 principles we were going to dive into. So the first one is you have to recognize the disguise that's being put on when fear starts sounding really smart to you. Once again, the thing holding you back is going to disguise itself as a logic, and people miss this so many times. Like the fear that capable people, like, it doesn't show up loud or dramatic. This fear, like it doesn't announce itself as fear at all. It shows up as reasonable, like being responsible, being thoughtful, being strategic, wanting to do things the right way, and that's why it works, because like the moment it feels like wisdom, not resistance, like that, you just buy into it. But what's actually happening is this, like your nervous system is just trying to protect you from becoming someone bigger than your currently identity, knows how to. It wants to hold on to where you're at. And here's the thing I need you to understand. You are the only person with your combination of gifts, superpowers, and experiences, which means you're the only person in the world who can make the impact in certain people's lives that you can make. And there are people out there who need that exact combination of things in their life. They need you to show up in the way that only you can show up. But you're stuck behind this fear, whether you realized it was fear or not. What happens? We panic. Like when you get into perfectionism, like instead of doubt, like you do endless research. Instead of clarity, right? You suddenly have this fog, like when action is required to do something. And most people think that I'm being careful, responsible, I'm doing what I should do. What they're really doing is you're just avoiding the expansion. And once you can see this clearly, you stop beating yourself up. You start working like with what's actually happening. So here's what I want you to do. And the biggest thing with these steps as a part of this principle is like, do not overthink any of these. Like put down the first thing that comes to mind, say the first thing that comes to mind, go do the first action. Do not overthink any of them. The first one is you have to name your disguise. Name the thing. Fear of success is personal and doesn't show up the same way for everyone. So some of the ways I've described it may resonate with you already. Some may not. And so let's cover a few of the classics, and that way hopefully it helps you get your mind going on what yours could be. So like one of them I've heard before is like, I just need, I need to do another round of research, even though you've already had enough, or I'm not quite ready yet. When honestly it's good enough. You could start doing something and you learn stuff along the way. Now isn't the right time. Even though like timing never really is good. Like things are always going to be happening. There's the sudden exhaustion or brain fog before action, or picking apart opportunities and stepping into them, like, and being overly judgmental of them. Whatever it is, like you figure out what yours is, and then you finish this sentence, and once again, that's where you want to write this down, type it out, whatever. Like, when I'm about to move forward, my fear shows up as blank. Whatever yours is, with no judgment, just look at it as like data. Now, once you can see what it is, and it could be showing up in multiple disguises with different masks on, then like when it shows up, now you can start to find it. Because it matters so much. Like these behaviors, they aren't going to happen randomly. It doesn't show up randomly. They show up like at these threshold moments right before something expands. You step into that new version. Like, so pay attention this week to moments like right before you launch or share something. When your visibility changes, when someone offers help or opens a door, when you're about to ask for like what you actually want, or when success becomes real instead of theoretical, even if it's in small bite-sized chunks, you'll notice it, and then you can be like, okay, hold on. The fear, that disguise, it shows up when blank, and write that out. Like that pattern tells you exactly what your system is trying to protect you from. And then you start to learn the difference between, and we're going to dive deeper into this later, like the difference between fear and real wisdom. Like not every pause is fear. Sometimes like waiting is wise. So I'm not trying to tell you to be, to just shoot from the hip or anything like that. Like that's not what I'm looking for you to do in any sort of way. You just have to be able to tell the difference. So here's how I've learned that you can start to tell the difference. There's like, is it fear dressed as wisdom or actual wisdom? Fear dressed as wisdom, it's going to feel foggy or urgent. It comes with shame or maybe self-doubt. It says things like maybe not yet, maybe you're not ready. It leads to paralysis, or it repeats across situations again and again. Actual wisdom feels more grounded and clear. It comes with calm, even if the choice is hard. It says like, hey, this isn't aligned with who you are. It creates direction, not confusion. It is very specific, not patterned. It is specific to where you're at. And so if you ask yourself, like, does this feel like clarity or confusion? Your body knows the answer before your brain does. Listen to it. And then see how this shows up in your role, the different roles that we play, because like, you know, where you sit in life can shape the disguise. If you're showing up as a parent at that point, the disguise could be like, hey, my kids need me to stay like this because they need me as I am. Well, the truth is, like, you're afraid of disappointing them by becoming someone who like has needs as well. Like entrepreneurs, they disguise themselves all the time by like, I need to refine this thing a little bit more. I want to look good and professional, and I don't want to. No, the truth is, visibility feels heavy because success brings expectations with it. Employees, professionals, leaders, like the disguise is like, hey, I'm being strategic about my timing. No, you're afraid like what success will look like. You know how impact deeper into your role that like already feels off. Whatever yours is, write your version like plainly. Don't spin around it. Like just write out whatever yours could look like. What's the disguise and the truth behind it? And then we start to look for these ways that we can pattern interrupt that sentence. Like when these things are happening, when you catch yourself, like the disguise in real time, you say this out loud. Like you actually call it out. Like, hey, I notice I'm doing more research than is needed instead of launching. Like that's what I'm doing right now, or whatever yours is. Like this might be fear trying to protect me from what's next. So I'm acknowledging it. I get you. I see you. And I'm choosing to move forward with the fear, not against it. You know, I'm choosing, I notice I'm researching instead of launching. And this might be my fear protecting me from visibility. So, and I'm acknowledging it. I get it. I see what it's trying to do. And I'm still taking the next step moving forward. Once again, the idea of you writing that out, saying it out loud, number one, saying it out loud, it does reprogram your brain faster. But you're not forcing anything. You're just refusing to let fear pretend to be logic anymore. You know, most people stay stuck because they don't realize like what they're actually listening to. That they when they see the pattern, like, man, fear stops being this invisible thing. It stops running the show. Stops being the driver in in the driver's seat. So it lets you take back that control. So if we see the disguise, we name the pattern, and then we move on to the next step. What's the next thing I can do to move me forward? So now let's actually talk about. Let's move forward instead of circling like the same edge of potentially taking action again and again. And so the second principle, we already talked about what it would be, is going to be understanding your nervous system, like protection, like why your body pulls the brakes when life gets bigger. Because here's the thing, your nervous system is, what's it actually doing? And really the bigger point is not just what is it doing, how do I work with it? And most people who, like you, who are extremely capable, and thoughtful and leaders and, impact makers, like they don't get told this over time. And so it just is something that it's, foreign to us. When you're close to a breakthrough, your energy drops. When your focus disappears, when suddenly you're irritated, foggy, or weirdly exhausted. Once again, it's not signs that we're unmotivated. It's not proof you're failing, and it's definitely not a character flaw of any sort of way. That's the nervous system doing its job. And anytime your identity is about to expand, your body treats it like a threat. Fight or flight mode, protection mode, survival mode. Not because it is threatened, but just it's unfamiliar with where you're at. And so your system, it doesn't care that the opportunity is positive. It cares that there's an unknown. An unknown, to your nervous system, it equals danger. And so instead of excitement, you get resistance. Instead of clarity, you get shut down. Like, not because you're weak, but because your system is trying to keep you alive with old rules. And once you understand that, you can shift things. You stop fighting your body, and you can actually start partnering with it along the way. So here's what I want you to do. Here's how you work with this without forcing it. The first thing is you learn your nervous system's warning signs. Because here's the thing, your body, it tells you things so much faster than your brain can realize. If you just start looking for the signals, your body gives you these things like long before your mind catches up. So common things are going to be like physical signs. Your body will suddenly feel exhausted, even though you're rested. You'll feel tightness in your chest or your throat or your stomach. You'll be restless or scatter focused. You're all of a sudden you're getting sick right when something matters, or you're sleeping too much or not at all. Or there's emotional signs, right? Like, think about common emotional signs that could show up. Like, all of a sudden you're irritable toward the opportunity itself. Sudden doubt in your abilities. Feeling emotionally flooded or completely numb. Picking fights with people who support you, or vague sense of doom with no clear reason. And so you write that out as well. If you're out of the sentence, like, hey, when success gets close, my body usually responds with, I get tired, I get exhausted, I feel sick, I become irritable, whatever yours may be. The response isn't random, it is a pattern. And then, once again, let's understand, why is your system responding this way? That's its job. Our programming, we are at core levels of who we are is survival. it just doesn't distinguish between like you're being chased by a bear or you're stepping into a bigger identity. It doesn't like the fear of the unknown and the survival, it doesn't know the difference. It just knows the emotional feeling it's feeling, and it goes after that. Unknown, like both of these are registering as like something unknown is approaching and I need to protect the human. You know, so here's like the internal math to think about. Like known, your brain and your internal nervous system, like known things equal safe, even if it's exhausting or unfulfilling. Known equals dangerous, even if it's what you want the most. And so if you say that out loud, my nervous system isn't broken, it's trying to protect me. That sentence alone, it starts to remove some of the shame behind that. And then you reassure instead of overriding. Like nervous systems, like they don't respond to willpower, it responds to safety. And so when resistance shows up, like just honestly, you take a deep breath, put your hand on your heart. It's like, hey, I know this feels unfamiliar. And I know unfamiliar, it feels unsafe, but this expansion is like, I'm choosing it intentionally. It is not forced. We're good, we're okay. We've handled hard things before and we can do this. We're gonna get through. You talk to your body. You talk your way out of that scared kid feeling. Like you slow down, you get calm, you get honest. That's what it is. Like do this, especially right before actions that could trigger the fear, not after. Like, okay, if I know that usually triggers fear, let me do this thing now so I can do the action without fear setting in. And then, you know, if you actually name what your system is really afraid of, that's a huge key here. Once again, it's not afraid of the success. It's afraid that what success might mean or demand, or like common fears underneath the resistance is like, you know, I'll have to operate at this level that I'm doing forever. You know, I'll never get to rest again. People will need more from me than I can give. Like my relationships will change. I'll be seen more. I'll be judged. I'll be exposed. Like whatever yours is, figure out whatever it is, write it out. And you know, hey, if this works, my system is afraid of blank. And when you name it, it stops running the show silently. You teach your system that expansion is safe. You know, because your nervous system, it doesn't believe affirmations, it believes evidence. So start proving it to your system gently. You know, that growth doesn't mean self-abandonment. So like the biggest thing, this is why whenever I talk about action items, I'm like, no, take one small action and then intentionally rest. Say yes to the opportunity or set one boundary and say no. Like share honestly with one person. Celebrate a win without like immediately pushing for more. Like every time you do something like this, you're teaching your body that we can grow without burning out. That's when resistance. You know, most people, they try to conquer resistance. They try like which just makes it get louder. And when you understand what your body's actually doing, you stop turning growth into a war and you create this partnership being like, okay, well, how do we do that? I know what you're trying to protect. I understand that now. You know, I'm respecting how my system wants to show up, and I'm going to reframe and rewire it so that forward motion becomes possible again. And for someone who's been fighting themselves for years, that shift alone can finally feel like so like a giant exhale, like so much weight has been lifted. Now, the third one, you have to distinguish. We talked about it earlier. We hit on it briefly, but I told you we'd dive into it deeper. Distinguishing wisdom from fear. Like when to trust the pause and when it's just fear in the nice outfit. Like that's where things get tricky, because like, and why I want to dive deeper into it. Not every hesitation is fear. And sometimes pause is like that you're having our wisdom. Sometimes it's guidance telling you like, not this or not yet. The problem is like fear is incredibly good at borrowing language from wisdom, and people end up in one of two traps. Number one, they're forcing themselves through every hesitation and ignoring their real intuition, or they call fear wisdom and stay stuck for years. You know, so this skill we're doing isn't about eliminating hesitation. It's just learning to tell which voice is actually speaking there, wisdom or fear. The difference isn't like subtle. Like once you know what to listen for, you can tell real quick. So here's how to tell the difference in real life. Number one, you learn how each voice actually sounds, because wisdom and fear sound different. Why? Like wise caution, wisdom usually sounds like, you know, hey, this isn't the right path for me. I need to address this specific thing first. This doesn't align with my values. Timing is genuinely wrong. Like this timing is genuinely wrong because of blank. It's very clear. It is specific. It is grounded. Fear dressed up as wisdom usually sounds like, hey, I'm not the right person for this. I just need to be more prepared, without knowing how. You know, what if people judge me? Now just isn't the right time, with no sense of like when it would be. Once again, if it's vague, it feels foggy, often comes with a quiet sense of shame. If you write down both voices in your own words and see them side by side, this matters. Then like, once again, listen to your body. Like your body knows before your brain. So close your eyes. Imagine saying yes to the thing that you're hesitating on. Notice like wisdom, you're going to feel calm, clarity. Like, even if it's a hard decision, you'll feel grounded, you'll feel steady breathing, a sense of alignment, not urgency. Fear, it's going to feel like urgency or paralysis. Like, you're going to feel tightness in your chest, your throat. You're going to feel shallow breaths. You're going to feel like you're contracted or freezing or foggy brain, whatever. Like, then you go ask yourself, like, do I feel clearer or do I feel confused? That answer is going to be real data to tell you, like, which voice is talking. And then there's patterns that you could look for that, like, without explanations. And this step alone, like, it exposes fear fast. Fear creates patterns. Wisdom is situational. So if you've ever told yourself the same hesitation story across different opportunities, like, I'm not ready yet, timing isn't right, I need one more thing. Like, that's not intuition, that's protection. Wisdom, on the other hand, is very specific. It shows up for this situation for this reason. Like, and it does it once, you know? So ask yourself, like, is this, like, have I used this exact explanation before? If you're honest, that starts to point things to you. Now, sometimes it pays to borrow somebody else's clarity, where you imagine, like, you know, your most trusted advisor, someone who knows you deeply, wants you to grow, like, listening to your hesitation. What do you think they would say? Yeah, that's wise, you should honor that. Or, man, that sounds like it's fear keeping you safe. You know, what would happen if you tried it anyway? Whatever you think that response would be, write it down. Even if you feel comfortable, go ask them. And here's the thing, if you let both voices speak on paper, it's the fastest way to separate out the truth from the protection. Where you're like, okay, well, I'm hesitating about blank because of blank, and let the fear speak first. Don't edit it, write it out. Like, let it be there. And then this time, write it grounded, from a grounded steady place. Like, well, let's find the wisdom that's there. You'll feel the difference in tone immediately. You know, most people either override every pause or they obey the fear right away. Like, this discernment lets you do neither. Like, and clarity, like, man, that's what finally creates movement, when we can actually get the clarity we need to here. And so our fourth principle, final principle we want to talk about, is, like, proving you can hold more. Like, how do you create the system, the infrastructure to hold what's coming? You know, fear fades when your capacity grows. And people don't realize that, like, the fear of success, like, it's rarely about the success itself. It's the quiet underneath of, like, well, what if I can't handle this? Like, what it turns into. Not the moment, like, it's the maintenance. It's not the win, it's the wait. You know, most people just assume success means living at this peak intensity they've been doing forever. But real, sustainable success isn't about pushing harder. It's about building the capacity to hold more. So let's talk about how you build the capacity without forcing yourself. You name what you're actually afraid of, like, you won't be able to handle. If you get very specific here, vague fears, like, stay powerful. So, like the more specific you be, the better. Common capacity fears sound like, you know, I'll have to work like this forever, or I've never really get rest again. Like, people will need me more constantly. I won't know how to maintain this. I'll lose myself in the demands, whatever. Like, write yours out. You know, if I succeed, I'm afraid that I won't be able to handle blank. Once again, the clarity, it starts to lower the fear. Then, like, you run these small capacity experiments. Once again, it's not about taking big leaps, changes, or overnight changes. Like, it needs these small experiences. Your nervous system learns through the experience, not just reassurance. A capacity experience, like, experiment could look like, you know, you take on something slightly more that feels comfortable. You protect yourself with boundaries. You ask for support if needed. You notice that you handled it. You repeat these things slowly. You know, if you're afraid of visibility, well, share one honest thing and let it sit. If you're afraid of being needed more, like, say yes to one thing, and then, like, but with a clear limit. If you're afraid of maintaining success, like, well, sustain one small win for the next week, 2 weeks, 30 days. And then write out, like, hey, this week I'm gonna stretch my capacity by blank, and then keep it on purpose. And then, like, once again, if you install one piece of infrastructure, capacity, it's not growing without structure. So what's one thing that can support you? A boundary that you're going to protect, a person who's going to help you, rest as a practice that you're not going to negotiate, a decision filter that keeps you aligned. You know, example, like, I don't respond to work requests after 7 p.m. That's one boundary. You defend it like it matters. So you just add one Lego brick and then another. And over time, you just keep stacking those on top. Sometimes you have to borrow confidence with maybe an alter ego of yourself. Great book out there called Alter Ego Effect that takes from this sort of a thing. But, like, this isn't about pretending. It's about creating distance from fear. You create a version of you who knows what they can handle already, and you give them a name. You define their core beliefs. You decide what, like, they do when fear shows up, and then choose something you wear when, like, you step into that role. And then ask yourself, like, what would my alter ego do? What would their name? What would, you know, that person do? And that, like, oh gosh, confidence will follow because it allows you to take action. And then if you keep a capacity record where it's like, here's the things I handled. Today I handled this, and that proves I can hold blank. Like, I shared honesty and I handled the response. And it shows I can hold responsibility. I set boundaries and nothing broke, which means I can do what I need to as a part of that. I asked for help and I received it. I can hold, like, support. After 30 days, like, you're no longer guessing, like, you're remembering based off all these things you've seen. Fear shrinks when the evidence grows. Now, here's what I want to land as a part of all of this. Like, you now understand what, like, the unspoken fear is actually doing. It's not a flaw. It's not a lack of discipline. It's your system, like, that's been trying, like, sometimes really clumsily to keep you safe. And for some of you, like, the awareness behind this is enough to get going. You're going to be able to start recognize these patterns sooner. You're going to stop shaming yourself, for resistance. You're going to, like, run a few small capacity experiments and put some structure around them, and you'll notice things shift. Like, the fear won't disappear, but, like, it won't be running the show anymore. And if that's you, if everything we covered today is exactly what you needed, good. Keep going. Like, you don't need permission. You can do this. But I also know this. There are some of you that need more. There's some of you listening with a deeper recognition. Like, you're staying on the edge of what's next, like that next level for a long time. And not because you don't want it, but, like, not because you're a lazy or you're afraid it won't work, but because, like, every time you get close, something pulls you back. You've learned how to pause. You know how to hesitate, like, and how to stay safe enough. And after a while, like, that edge feels so familiar, even super comfortable. And the truth is, like, you can't build the capacity that you need alone. Sometimes you need support. You need a deeper system. All right. Inside, like, your same patterns that you created, like fear in the first place, keep coming back. So there's two things you could consider here. Number one would be, get yourself a copy of the GIVER method. This will walk you through different principles and things that help you to move forward from that step. Now, for a lot of you and the people who are still watching, that's not what, like, you need more than this. And that's why I created the Ignition Accelerator program that I told you I would dive deeper into. It's not a course that you can consume and abandon. It's not as, like, your motivation, like, it's not something like, motivation you'll forget, like, in a week. It's a 90-day one-on-one partnership. You and I walking through is designed for this exact moment when you're capable, self-aware, and still stuck in the same threshold. We don't force you through fear. We don't hype you up and send you on your way. Like, we build capacity together. We move through three phases. We recalibrate where we're at, find what are the disguises, understand what our nervous system is doing, start to rediscover those gifts and superpowers. Then, great, let's reignite it. Let's design small actions that you can start doing. Let's set boundaries. Let's start proving to ourselves what we can do. And then finally, we accelerate that. We let the evidence compound. We stabilize our new normal. We expand, in a way that we don't fall back into the old patterns. So this includes, weekly one-on-one sessions, personalized coaching action plans, support between sessions when fear flares up, access to any of our tools and videos that we create for you, for life, and a final integration that you're able to use that helps you go beyond the 90 days. And here's the real outcome after the 90 days. You stop standing on the edge of your life. You stop fighting yourself every time things start to work. You start trusting, not blindly, but earned, that you can hold on to what's coming. Not because fear is gone. Fear doesn't go away. It comes back. But because your capacity has grown and you know how to navigate at that point. If that resonates with you, check out the link below. Go check out the Ignition Accelerator program link. And if you're unsure, book a call on there. Book a conversation with me. I'm all about no pressure, just clarity. I want to make sure this is the right thing for everybody. Whatever you choose, whether it be to take the stuff we talked about in the video, to go get a copy of the GIVER Method book with the link in the description, or sign up for the Ignition Accelerator program, whatever you do, I'm glad you were here, because you didn't click this video by accident. You're tired of pulling back. You're tired of wondering why someone as capable as you keeps hitting themselves into this invisible ceiling again and again. Once again, there's all the ways we can help you diving deeper into this. Plenty of people need the GIVER method. Go get it on Amazon. It's about aligning your actions, sustainable growth, and becoming who you already are without burning yourself down. Go check out thegivermethod.com. Check out the free resources in the link below. If you lead a team, a podcast, a stage, an audience, where we want to bring this message to them, let's talk about how we can do that in a very real way. And then make sure we've done all the YouTube things. Do one thing for me. Comment with a disguise that your fear wears. The one that you finally recognize as protection, not truth. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell, all those things. Here's the thing. Awareness changes everything. You're not broken. Your nervous system isn't the enemy. And you're not afraid of failing. You're afraid of succeeding, and discovering that you're more capable than you've ever been letting yourself hold. It's not a weakness. You're at the edge of transformation. I want you to step into that so you can truly make the impact that only you can make. You get to decide if you're ready to cross that threshold. And I promise you, you are. And there are people waiting for you on the other side so that you can actually make the impact that only you can make. With that, I'll just say have a great rest of your day. Hopefully you can check out the other videos on the channel. Check out thegivermethod.com, and we'll catch you in one of our future videos. Have a great rest of your day.